Hey Ollie, so yeah, thanks for your patience on this. We'll run through this race analysis, and it is good. I mean, there's a lot of things that it's pretty hard to predict, and things are hindsight 100%. But even still, we'll run through it. We'll start with this start here. So it looks like we can tell from the rear camera that the blue car didn't get a monster start so much as he just jumped the start. But it is what it is. No sweat there. It's what goes on. At this point we were really forced into the middle, so there wasn't a whole lot that we really could do. But once this happens, once this car really starts to rotate here, you do the right thing. I mean, we have to check up because for all intensive purposes, we expect this car to just kind of spin to the inside as he's still on the gas, which is mind-blowing to me. But anyway, he spins to the inside, but then we know at this point, we know he's coming to the outside. So we have to start cutting to the inside. That's really the only thing. Once the inertia has swept the car around back out this way, then it can only keep going out this way. So we want to cut to the inside here and just try to maneuver around it. But I mean, we had to kind of wait to see what he was doing, of course, but that would be the idea. But I mean, it is what it is. We at the same point have to have our head on a swivel sort of thing, and be a bit smart about it as well. But then as we come into up to the top here, up to the top of the hill, we upshift and then slow down, which is something the gear placement is the only thing I would say I think we need to do a lot of change to. This is a second gear corner. We upshift the third and then slow down and drive through the corner. And then even still, we want to almost short shift the fourth there. But I want to avoid these short shifts and being in the wrong gear quite often. This looks to me like it should be a second gear corner all day long. We should absolutely have downshifted here, because anytime that we have to stop for a car in front, like, for willy-nilly right here, we have to slow down because, again, we're not sure if he's going to spear it into the side of us or not. So we are slowing down a little bit more on our entry speed. We need to absolutely be cognizant of that. And anytime we get held up, we need to be ready to just drop that gear, because that's where we can always be in attack mode. So same thing as if we're behind a battle, and we come into a corner and they are traveling a little bit slower than we would normally travel, just especially on the first lap, be always prepared to just drop a gear. I would say every first lap I've done, if I'm in the midfield or if I'm in the midfield or if I'm, not kind of setting the pace, then I'm always looking to grab an extra gear down just to give me a little bit more shot out. And it makes a massive difference. And the key is really to not be lazy in these instances, and it just be second nature. We're just boom down to second, accelerate out. Now I think that should be a second gear corner anyway, but I would say for the most part, we just need to be really cognizant of that. So we'll kind of play through the first lap, because we actually do a good job of now picking up the pace and closing the gap down. So really good in here. We get the car woed up and then we accelerate it out. I can see that, it's the first lap, so I'm not critiquing this at all. I'm just speaking about what we're going to be doing later. We get it woed up, and again, really what I would like to be doing is kind of braking into this point, like braking as deep in as possible, and then maybe a coast there, and then an acceleration out, right? So I want to be realistically trying to get to flat on the exit, of course, but a bit later, maybe on to throttle. See, we're on throttle here. I realistically don't want to be getting on throttle till about, you know, somewhere around here, just a little bit ahead of us. And that's going to allow us to really kind of scoot out and be more efficient on our exit. So it's going to allow us to drive in a bit deeper. You know how deep to drive in here, but you know, I would say like just to the white line or just dipping over the white line, whatever allows us to really make that corner sort of as smooth and seamless as possible. But you know, through here, that's just one thing I would say is just try to delay our on throttle out of there a little bit. A few times we go in too deep, and this is where we really need to start to have actual braking markers, actual turn-in markers, actual acceleration markers, actual exit points. We need to have all of this so that we can literally turn the same lap over and over. And when we're stuck behind someone, we can rationalize how slow we are behind them and how we can find that pace again. So immediately snap to it. Really good through here. Really good. Okay, so we use basically all the road here, okay? So we use all the road, come right down, right to the curb, which I like to see. I want us driving right to the painted line, basically. And the curb can be our little cushion, you know, our little, if the car slides a little bit or something like that. So that's what we do here on the first lap. As we get further into the race, we start kind of cutting down really low, especially when we're stuck behind someone. And this is something that we really need to remove out of our driving. We can't drive the way that other people are driving. You're significantly quicker than them. So we need to just hone in on the fact that you're quicker and they're just in the way. So we are not driving the circuit the way that they should be driving the circuit. And we need to treat everyone as kind of like they're a black car. Like obviously we can learn their habits and use that for our playbook as we go through the race. But for the most part, everybody's in a black car, everybody's in a black helmet. All our job is to go out and win. So we just need to get to the front as quickly as possible and not be concerned with, you know, not concern ourselves so much with, oh, he's not trustworthy, he is. We just need to knife and dice as quickly as possible so it's not even a thing. You know, we're already past him. He can take out whoever he wants behind. So really good, really quick through here. I'd like to, again, just kind of like the top there, I'd kind of like to just add a slight bit more diamond here and still kind of just be bringing our braking a bit deeper into here. And then we're kind of switching to that coast and then switching to the acceleration from there. I would just like to see a little bit more of that, but still very good. Yeah, and let the car run right out to the wall. Let's see here, 315. Okay, so as I was mentioning, braking point, this is kind of it. I really want to have it on the scope. Something. We need to pick up something, be it, you know, like, okay, we have the signs here. So our visual reference would be across the track like this, or, you know, there's a seam in the track here that I can utilize. There needs to be something geographic that's not going to move, that's not a shadow, that we can utilize and, you know, ensure that we actually hit the mark lap after lap after lap. And use that downshift, right? Like that downshift is part of our engine braking. So as we come around here, you know, and we're bombing down the straight, get my notes back up. As we're bombing down the straight, we hit the braking point, but we need to use that downshift still. That still helps the car whoa up a bit. So, you know, don't forget the shift and don't forget to turn the wheel, of course. So we do all that. We get it turned in. We're a little bit late. Gives us good exit, which is great. And that's kind of what we want to see. But it's just what I'm talking about with like carrying the braking past the apex is like we're bleeding out of the brake. We're, you know, we're full brake. And then just as we're starting to crest it into the apex, then we're bleeding out of that brake. So I kind of want our, let's say this is, okay, never mind. I did that wrong. Here, we're going to do this is brake. This is just a sec. Let me get the right color. And then this can be like our throttle here. Okay, no, I'll do steering. So steering, we kind of want our steering to go like this. And we want our throttle to look like this. Right, so what we've got here is, let's say this is our 100% tire grip. Okay, so as we roll along here, when we're at full brake, then tires maximized and we have to be at 0% steering. Once we start to dial in the steering, dial in the turn in, then we have to be bleeding out of the brake. And let's say it's, you know, we can put in 50% steering load and then we have to be kind of at 50% brake, not pressure, but brake ability, let's say. And then once we're at 0 brake, we can basically be, or sorry, this would be 50 here. Once we're at 0 brake down here, then we're at kind of max steering load. And then that still, we would have to be at, you know, 0% throttle. As we start to get to about 50% throttle on exit, that's where we're releasing the steering load. So when we're trying to get into the throttle, trying to get into that full throttle, we're releasing that steering load. So we're at 50-50. By the time we're asking the most of the throttle traction, we can't be asking anything of the steering. Okay, so this is to maximize this, you know, tire ability 100%. Obviously, this isn't a perfect system, but this is kind of the idea. So when we're going into that braking zone and going into that corner, we're bleeding out of the brake as we're starting to dial that steering angle in around the first curve. And then what's next for us? 429. So we've caught this group, right? And we're kind of all over them. They're already holding us up. And then this is where we kind of just need to be mindful of what we do next. So we're already, you know, we're already way out of the gas and way out of the attack, so to speak, rather than really forcing the issue and driving our own line. We're just kind of driving the way that they're driving, which is one thing I really would like to avoid. So, you know, the big key, Ollie, is like when we catch a group and we, you know, we catch a slower car, the big key is to act as fast as possible, because mentally, you know, we as humans are not very intelligent. And so once we catch and get behind a car, we all of a sudden, everything we've done over practice days and qualifying days and the race when we're running by ourselves, that all goes out the window. And we all of a sudden just switch our braking points, switch our turn-in points, switch our driving to exactly what the car in front is doing. And it's a mental thing. It's not a you thing. It's not a me thing. It's a everybody does it. And it's just mind-blowing that we allow it to happen. But anyway, we do it, and then it becomes very, very difficult to pass. So this is why once we're behind for a little bit, we're going to be behind for the rest of the race. So here we need to act as quickly as possible, jump on it, and then really fire it down the inside in a way that we go. Let me just try to bring it up.
Recording progress.
Okay, yeah. So, and then like I would like to really force the issue down here, but even still, okay. So we didn't do that, and we kind of released the pressure, and that's the one thing I want to avoid doing is just how much we release the pressure. Because when we keep someone under pressure, then obviously it makes them make a mistake, and it's just an easy way to take a position without us really having to do any planning or anything like that. But now at this point, you know, again, it's really about, we've been slowed up so massively. We really need to downshift. Like now it looks like we're kind of just coasting under caution, and we don't downshift. And it really, you know, everybody kind of missed the apex here, but we didn't take any advantage of it. So we hit the apex, but then we just kind of drive it out and follow them and await that. So that's really what I would like to avoid. I want to be kind of constantly putting pressure on, and same thing in here. I want to kind of drive it in a bit harder, apply the pressure, and try to create a run rather than just waiting for them to kind of just let us by. So we're trying to create options, right? So by doing that, we need to kind of drive it in a little deeper, then stop, cut back, you know, things like that. But we do a nice job around the outside here. You know, we do set this up pretty good. So that was the right call there. And yeah, he did block it off. But then I really just want to find that consistency through this whole section. How quickly can we really bomb it through here and bomb it through the right-hander? You know, so consistency basically from turn 6 to turn 9. I want to make sure that we're kind of doing it the same lap after lap. And that's really extracting the maximum from it. Because you saw on turn 9 there, we can touch on it. But like, you know, we've left 2 car lengths or 2 car widths of room on the outside. So I want to assist or change that a bit so that we're maximizing corner after corner. Way quicker into 10. And let's see here. Okay. So now we're going to go to a brilliant move. Okay. So same sort of thing. We don't force the issue down here too much, but we downshift. And watch, because we downshift, we just go straight on past him. So we got to think, he's staying in 3rd gear. We're going down to 2nd gear, and we literally just passed him on the exit. It's not that he really made too much of a mistake. He didn't really, you know, he was missing the turn in lap after lap. It didn't really matter. Yeah, you stuck the nose, so he probably left that space a little bit more open. But even still, from this point, we literally just accelerate past him. So if we can accelerate past him in 2nd gear, then, and that's the speed that we're going the lap before, then maybe we should be using 2nd gear each time out of there, just to give that launch and get the car up to pace a little bit more and a little quicker. So we need to utilize that gearbox a bit better, for sure. Okay, cutting ahead. Okay. Second gear, I wish we were using because we're way low in the RPM, but anyway. Now, coming out of here, okay, up to here, up to the top. So you see, one thing I want to talk about is just how early, if we listen, how early we get out of the throttle, right? We're out of the throttle way, way early. He's still accelerating up the hill. So if we, stayed in the throttle a little bit longer and brought it up the hill out to the right side, we'd probably be able to pile on a bit more pressure on him again, try to take a look to the outside, and then set up for a run out the bottom when we exit the corner. So here we've just kind of chosen to sit behind him, but really, we could have created some kind of run one way or another, rather than just, hope that we can shoot it around the outside here under braking. Nicely done, like really, really nicely done, I gotta say. But even still, had we been a little bit closer, I think we could have made something like that work, especially since it would have been the first time. Now he's already aware that we're outbraking him down there, and he's now going to cover off the inside more and more. Just to talk about what I'm talking about, I guess, with the pressure related thing. We drive this way deeper up the hill, still not as deep as I think we could, but we at least go to the outside, force the switch over, and then we almost get it right. Like really, we just kind of got on power a touch too soon, so maybe what we need to be doing is kind of sending it around the outside here, but sending it more in this direction here. So we're closing in on his right rear corner, and that's going to put us on just a slightly nicer trajectory as we come down here. Like we want to be kind of turning in and then just breezing to the outside of it. And then that's going to make the switch, rather than just taking the outside and then trying to make the switch. That causes us to kind of make that switch back down low a little bit too soon. And then that way we're not able to get fully back to full throttle. And that kind of impedes our exit ability. But anyway, we're around the outside and away we go. So I just wanted to show we did do it right. And that is kind of what I'm talking about. And we can just work on how we do that a bit better. But I wanted to cut back to here where we're stuck behind him. So as we come through the S's, nicely done. This is somewhere where I think we're really strong and we're being impeded massively. But we really need to kind of send it through this right-hander like we normally would. We need to treat it as if there's no car in front of us, because he's so far up the road. We can't be worried about what he's doing. And we send it through here. And then really use all the road on the exit. That's what I want to be doing. But we've, left a mountain of space on the outside.
Recording in progress.
So I would say just using up the space here. What it's going to do is just, obviously, we're just going to create more of a run. And yes, we don't want to be making a move down into 10. I mean, I get it, unless it's like completely presented to us on a silver platter. But if we're utilizing the space here and just giving more pressure to him here, then realistically, I mean, he's going to be more likely to make a mistake once we're all over him, and we can really close this in. Now, I understand, you're thinking, oh, okay, well, we close up through 10 anyway. But we need to be like realistically right on him through 10 if we're going to make a move into 11. So we need to be in a position where, we backed off And we're so far back, even still, we're not realistically in a position where we can make a solid move. If we were that 2 car lengths up on him, I think then we would be really able to force the issue, be it not around the outside, be it forcing him way down to the inside and then we kind of go to the outside, or just taking the inside line because we'd already have our nose there on him. So we need to really put it into a situation where we're, driving up to the back of him so that we are going to force this issue because we are quicker than him. So him holding us up, it's not acceptable. And that's really it. I mean, that's really what I would say. And then we're going to cut ahead here. So we're nice and tight to him here. And then we kind of get out of it and back off from him. And same thing, we were on him, but now we're not on him after 10. So we just need to be a little bit more strategic. We can't be afraid of 10. We get through there fine every time. He's driving quick enough and he's driving on the line. So if we just stay on him through 10, like, yeah, he does a little double break there, but now we know. But if we stay on them through 10, then realistically, he's not going to have a chance to hold us up through 11. And then last little thing I would talk about is just so we're good here. We use up a little bit more of the road, which is good. And then we're coasting. So from here, we're realistically coasting. We're in no mood to try to drive to the back of him. We're just kind of coasting it around. In reality, what I would say is even if we didn't want to make the move into 10, if we stayed on it and drove into our braking zone, he would be forced to have to enter offline and he's going to get a garbage exit because of it. So we need to, even if it's not a move we're going to make, we can still bluff on him a little bit and bluff to the point that we know we're backing out of the corner. So start turning in as normal. Don't like just brake super late and then really stop the car so that he creates a run again. But, brake and just allow him to come across the nose, but we're going to be right on top of him coming out. Right. So, and he's going to have, he's going to enter the corner from a worse position. So, I would say let's just remove this coast and kind of letting him have the next set of corners. If we can remove that, then I think the passes are going to become much, much easier and opportunities will open up much more than they do right now. Okay. But that's really all I have to say. I think, it like anything, it's frustrating when we're basically the quickest of the cars, yet we're